I did want to ask, like with this new car, there's a couple things. I listened to the Dale Jr. podcast with a couple guys you would know, and parts availability is a big like concern. And after a race like Coda, where everybody is, I mean, you had a strong start to the season where it was what, like fifth, and sixth or
sixth. Yeah, that's right.
So like you guys have been taking care of your cars pretty well, but
yeah,
NASCAR's moved to this modular, like, put together your car and go, but it's a specific set of suppliers. Like, has it been a constant churn in the shop? Like not just your team, but other teams, and have you guys run into any issues yourself?
Yeah, I mean, the reality is across the entire nation, right? We've all heard about supply chain issues. If you haven't, you've been living under a rock. So it's everywhere. It's not just specific to our industry, but with all the supply chain issues across the nation, we have started a brand new car with all new parts and pieces and all these things. And so all of our old parts and pieces from our race cars that we've ran for the last 7-8 years are obsolete. They are no good on this car. They don't fit the car. They don't meet the specifications to be run on this car per the rules. So we have had no choice but to rely on the single source vendors that supply the parts and pieces for this car to be built. Mm-hmm. And because of that, these single source vendors are taxed to the max with this task of supplying all 40 race teams with their parts and pieces that they need. And they're behind on, we were supposed to start the season with 7 cars. The original plan for this car was for each team to have 7 cars built and ready to go for the season. Mm-hmm. Per car number, right? So like the 10 team would have 7 cars. The 4 team would have 7 cars. The 48, the
280 11, cars across the series.
Across the series, right? And instead, we've started the season with 2 cars, and now we're up to 2.7 cars. Like we've got enough parts and pieces to build almost a 3rd car to start the season. And there's a lot of parts that are becoming consumables that nobody intended them being consumables. Everybody thought these were parts that were going to be very robust and you would take them from car to car, and that's not been the case. So it's been challenging from an industry side to make it all work, because in the past the teams were responsible. Right? The teams were responsible for building their cars and getting their cars to the racetrack to meet the rules. And so we have our own machine shop, right? We have our own carbon fiber shop. We have all these resources at our fingertips. And so if we were low on supply on something, we would just
build it,
turn it over to the machine shop and say, we need these and we need them tomorrow. And they would work an overnight shift. And tomorrow we would have 50 of them. Or, if it's control arms, we would say we're low on, upper control arms. We need upper control arms built. And within a couple of days, we'd have everything we need. But we're one team, one organization servicing just 4 teams, right? Yeah. Now you've put all of this pressure on one vendor to supply it to all the race teams. And so not only are they trying to get caught up on new purchase orders, they're trying to now then fulfill all these orders coming in to fix crash damage. And so like, not only can they not keep up with all the new orders that have been placed to try and get us up to that 7 car allotment, we're wrecking parts and pieces across the industry week after week after week. So now they're trying to run at a rampant pace just to get these teams that have wrecked parts back able to go to the racetrack with the parts and pieces they needed. So it has been a challenge, kind of behind the scenes, with just the industry as a whole, trying to make sure that we have enough parts and pieces to go to the racetrack each week.
And I mean, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I have to imagine with the new car, people are wrecking more just from a comfort standpoint and not having,
not knowing the limit, right? Like we showed up to all these racetracks for years and we knew the limits and capabilities, and every once in a while you would overstep the boundaries, for sure. And we would wreck in racing in tight quarters and stuff, but this is a brand new car and we don't really understand the limits totally. And we don't know how it races around in traffic around each other. And so
Atlanta was a pretty good,
yeah, exactly.
good collection of everything where it's like different track style, different body, and
right.
the supply chain issues was just
Yeah.
all of the above.
Yeah. So yeah, with anything that's new, you always expect there to be a learning curve, and there's a learning curve from the teams and the engineers, the drivers, and through the learning curve, you break some stuff, you wreck some stuff, right? Like, and so, and even in like just other industries as well, like with product development and like
for sure.
trying to, figure out how you're going to roll out this new vehicle or new thing, right? Like you go through product development and you take it to its limit and you break it and you crash it and you do all these things to prove it out and to fix any sort of issues. Well, we're doing that on the fly throughout our race season. So yeah, it's been fun. It's been interesting. It's been chaotic. It's been a lot of things, but I think all of that has, come together to really drive interest in ratings as well. Our sport's doing really well when it comes to interest in viewership.